Diablo 2, a timeless classic in roguelike ARPGs, well known for its dark and edgy environment, was remastered on August 13th, 2021. It was almost everything D2 fans could have asked for, except for it was released with one thing missing: Open Battle.net. Diablo 2 Open Battle.net was something a majority of players never got to experience. It was basically the Wild West where cheating, hacking, and duping was extremely rampant. Connecting to closed Battle.net meant you were connecting directly to Blizzard's servers. Open Battle.net games were peer-to-peer connections that were hosted on someone's computer. This definitely was a security risk for both the host and the player. I was too young at the time to really know of how things worked, but my assumption is that you would port forward or use something like Hamachi to make joinable games. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to create your own games. You'd have to continuously refresh the list of games in order to eventually find one that was joinable. The games that were hosted on Open Battle.net were always insanely hacked lobbies. Through these games, people could crash your game, computer, IP grab you, or even ban you from the lobby. It was even possible to kill people in town and take items off their bodies. Some of you may remember the small charm of death. It was a small charm that when dropped and hovered, it would freeze your computer. As a kid, getting good items and grinding for drops was a lot harder than it is now. When I had discovered that there were lobbies where finding things like perfect griffins or e-bugged exiles were only killing a monster in Bloodmore away, I had fallen in love with the game mode. There was a program called D2XL where you could edit the files to make any level monster drop any item in the game. You would kill something and it would drop at least 10 uniques and set pieces depending on how you'd modify the file.
北斗神拳は2000年の一子相伝。お前ごときが使えるほど甘くはない。
I would have so much fun gearing up characters and unidentifying loot that I had never been able to get before. You were even able to change the XP ratios of monsters as well. Hitting level 99 had never been easier than killing a few fallen in the cold plains, but this was only the tip of the iceberg. Most players on Open Battle.net were using programs like Hero Editor or Median XL. Hero Editor allowed you to hack/modify your single player save files, which you could then port over to Open Battle.net and use online. People would hack their gear to have insane stats like this. There were even a few notable items that most people on Open Battle.net would remember, such as the hack charms that would turn your character invisible or red. There was also a set called White, which would make your entire character look white. It was basically like Saigons. Now, most games you'd try to join would fail to connect because they were actually Median XL lobbies. Median XL was actually a whole rework of the game that would include entirely new content. Oddly enough, Median XL still exists and people still play it to this day. This mod would consist of brand new items, skill trees, quests, and much more. It completely revamped Diablo 2 and added a brand new endgame that wasn't just mindlessly farming bail runs. So what happened to Open Battle.net and why does it no longer exist? Diablo 2 Resurrected would be released in 2021 as the remastered version of Diablo 2 LOD. With this remaster came the removal of TCP IP multiplayer, which is essentially peer-to-peer connection. Its main function was allowing people to play over LAN, but it was also possible to play over the internet using something like Hamachi. The reason Open Battle.net was most likely removed was due to Blizzard not wanting people to play online using pirated versions of the game. Oh, and of course the potential security risks of peer-to-peer connection. Removing this from D2R basically meant that mod functionality would never be a thing. You'd have to go back to classic Diablo 2 if you wanted to play any of them, which people still do. I think Open Battle.net was just one of those things where you had to be there to experience it. I personally am indifferent about it being removed as it keeps the integrity of Diablo 2 in check. If you played Open Battle.net, comment below what your favorite item or thing about it was. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.